was amazing. He put together the slideshow for us. Give him a hand. So Brian had a headset mic shortage, so he's going to be taking his handheld mic and talking to Justin, Russell, and Mark from you guys.
You guys ready?
We're ready.
How you guys doing? My name is Justin. This is my model Kelsey. So Kelsey has pretty strong features. She's got a pretty nice jawline, really nice eyes, really nice eyebrows. So I really want to accentuate her eyebrows, her jawline by making like a pretty strong fringe, pretty straight across. Basically, just want to take the sides, just square, scissor over comb, the whole entire exterior, and then basically right now I'm just finishing this off, and I go through the scissor over comb. Then on the top, I just started on this side, over directed everything to here, which is in this length. So this will be a little bit longer, this will be shorter. She'll have a
and you just take these pieces out and you fold it together. And so I thought it was a really nice, clean, simple shape, but it had these corrugated edges that were, reminiscent of any kind of layered cardboard. And it had to be layered to give it some weight or some structure so that you could sit on it. So I thought, how can I take that idea and transfer it into hair? Well, I'm going to take a simple shape and I'm going to corrugate the edges. So what I've done so far is I've gone through and I've cut one length off with a razor because I wanted the edges shattered and soft, and so it would give me less of a severe edge so that when I put my corrugation in it, that I'm not continuing to fight against myself by building a solid weight line in it and then trying to loosen it up. So the hard part about going through with the razor is around the ears. But the ears, some people are blessed with these ears that stick out. And I'm not going to mention anybody's name who has ears that stick out. But that was the hard part when you're doing a razor, is how can you get a continuously straight line from the back to the front? So I did it the same way. You can comb down the way you're talking. You comb it down, you stick your finger underneath the ear to relieve the tension, then you just continue on. I would prefer to do this type of work with a guardless razor, just a straight blade. I think you can get much more detailed work. You can be much cleaner about it, and you're not fighting the razor. Because sometimes if you have one with a guard, which I use the guard quite a bit, but when you're trying to do something this detailed, I'm still trying to get a solid bob shape. The razor allows you to be much more precise about that. So then I'm going to cut the bangs and kind of a little longer piece in the middle, and then it'll work on some corrugation a little bit. Thank you.
Everybody, what I said today was a little bit of a round graduation for the back. Hold on a second. Let me lift this up just so I can show you what I did here. Basically separated the top half with a curved diagonal back section and worked around graduation all the way underneath. So, and through here, holding all this hair here in front of the ear at natural fall and angling my fingers to follow her jawline. She has a really beautiful jawline here that I wanted to really accentuate. So bringing that back here and then into the back here, just following the round graduation technique, pivoting through the top of the ear and staying perpendicular to the part, holding that about 45 degrees and just kind of slamming that down there and getting a nice soft kind of round graduation that builds up a weight right around here, obviously a little bit here. So I did that on both sides. And then on top here, I'm going to release the section here. She had really long hair when we started about down to here. And so I took a central vertical section. And I use the graduation back here as a guide for my length. I leave it a bit disconnected. And then I work that around through here. And then she had some bangs that were about the middle of her bridge of her nose. I'm using those as a guide for the length here. So I'm going to go cut from shorts along from the crown here. And I'm going to invert all those sections up here so I can maintain some disconnection to the sides. That way we can kind of get a real shattered look and kind of, when it blows out, it should look really cool. Just right now, I took a radial section from the crown to the top of the ears on both sides. What that's going to do is allow me to, I'm taking 15 radials from the crown, and that's going to maintain a nice round shape in here that can follow the length here. And then once this is built out here, we're going to go short long this way. So we maintain a lot of length in here. She can wear it kind of off to the side on her eyes. And she's got a great sort of a natural, loose, sleepy wave curl, and I kind of want to try to accentuate that if I can later.
So I think you guys have heard us mention Google a couple of times. And I want to take the opportunity to seize that opportunity to talk about Google because, whether it's any question I've ever thought of in my life that I don't know the answer to, I type that question into the search engine, bam, I have like a million answers for me. I wish I would have had it when I was in school, to tell you the truth, because my homework probably would have got done. But we were able to just type in things. Sometimes you look at a haircut, it's so amazing, it has so much structure, and you find yourself wondering how it was done. And sometimes I put myself in a box of thinking that it was all done in one shot, like one section pattern, bam. But what I've realized is that by going through and putting in a foundation of a certain haircut that you want the real soul or the foundation of like a graduated bob, and then coming through and working just a different haircut on one side that blends into the other side. So I basically am doing 2 haircuts on this one. All right. So I'm just going to continue through. As I cut on the skin here, I just go through and lift this up just at a very low 45-degree angle. And what that's going to do is just bevel this in on the skin a little bit more instead of it sitting like a broom, like real straight. And then after I'm done with this part, I'm going to take the flat iron and bevel this over, and then I can really go in and just hammer out the exterior around the perimeter, just make that all swing along as well. Pretty good.
I just want everyone to know I'm not cutting with my back towards the audience, just the only way that I get lighting to see what I'm doing is by having a light shine on me. So if you guys have a hard time seeing, I hope it's showing up on the monitor. She has black hair that's wet right now, so to be able to see the lines that I'm cutting, I have to try to expose as much light as possible. So what I have done is, in the front, I have a section from the apex of the ear to the top of the ear. I brought all of this down, and I'm cutting not even 1 finger's depth, I'm just cutting straight on the skin to try to make the line as hard as possible. Using the shortest piece as my guide, cutting this line convex, longer to shorter, and then what I'm doing is I'm pivoting around the head, and I'm subsectioning, working my way around the head, and eventually I'm going to take all this corner really tight right here. And so right now, I'm just passing this right now, going through the back, and then I'm going to give it a slight dry, and then I'm just dying to take out these pin curls to create a really fun shape.
Those back boys, the backstage boys. It's so fun.
All right. All right, so Kelsey's here, we're getting towards the front of her hairline. Taking square sections all the way out. And basically like finger length, when working with hair like this texture, it's really nice because you can basically do anything you want. When you scissor or comb really tight, you can make it lay any way that you want it. Some people call this sharp practice, some people call it men's barbering, it's up to you. But basically, I just took the guide I had from, started from this side, wrapped it all the way around. But also be careful when you do that because we're going from side to side, section to section to section like this. And if you stand on the wrong side, it can actually tend to be longer on this side if you're pulling it towards you. So over the years, it's pretty easy for me to know what length I'm working with. So still continuing, just doing square sections all the way here. And after that's done, blow dry it, and do some scissor or comb, get it pretty tight, and I'll start working on the top of the branch.